So this isn't going to be a flashy sales video. It's not going to have big promises or a bunch of animations. It's going to be a tactical breakdown of how we build AI-powered outbound systems that generate deals from $10,000 to way past $1 million without having the overhead of an SDR or constant ad spend. We've already done it for more than 60 teams, so I'll show you how we think, how we execute, and whether this would actually make sense for your business. All right, so let's do it. So we've helped clients close $1.3 million deals through cold email. We've helped our client max out production capacity for an entire year, and we've set up meetings with multiple Fortune 500 companies. So it's pretty safe to say that cold email works, but it doesn't work for everything. Not every business should be doing cold email. If your lifetime value is under $4,000 or your offer isn't clearly business related, then honestly likely you'll do better with Google Ads or Meta Ads. But if you're selling something that a decision maker needs to think about or budget for or procure, then cold email wins. So to give you an example, let's say a procurement manager is comparing suppliers for sustainable straws at a hotel. They wouldn't click a Facebook ad to find a supplier and list that out and make the decision. But they would be replying to a well-timed cold email because that's how they're already doing things. So for B2B teams that are selling serious offers, cold email outperforms networking events, referrals, SEO, call centers, and typically also LinkedIn ads that typically is overpriced. And it does this because it's direct, it's scalable, and when you do it right, it puts you in control of your pipeline, which means more meetings, less competition, and a pipeline flow you can actually control. So why should you even listen to us? We have booked more than 5,000 conversations with founders, CEOs, procurement titles, etc. We've generated more than $20 million of revenue for our clients, and we've worked with more than 60 teams building fully custom systems for each and every one. And we didn't get those results by just spamming thousands of people. We got them by sending highly relevant emails. So relevant, in fact, that people actually thank you for reaching out, like they do in this email down here. Many of our clients actually come to us after Outbound didn't work. And it's not necessarily that the channel was broken, but it's that no one ever built it properly. And that's essentially what we do differently. So at the end of the day, cold email success is driven by two things. First of all, that you're reaching out to the right person. Second of all, that you're reaching out to them with something that's actually relevant, believable, and clear. All right, so let's talk through in a bit more detail how do we actually build these lists. So we build every single list from scratch based on your ICP. So the first step is making sure that we actually understand who is it that we're trying to reach and how can we make that list as relevant as possible. Typically, the list will be built off of LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and that's simply because that's the most up-to-date database out there. All of the other databases are 90% built off of LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and they're essentially trying to keep it updated from LinkedIn Sales Navigator, like ZoomInfo, etc. So when we've built out the list there and compiled a list of companies and people, then we enrich those people with emails. So we try to find the emails from each contact. And we use something called Better Contacts for this. So that's essentially a waterfall enrichment tool, which uses all of the best enrichment tools out there so that we make sure we actually get as many of these emails as possible and that they are actually the right emails. Sometimes we will use Google Maps instead of LinkedIn because some businesses won't be on LinkedIn. So for example, a local business, they won't necessarily have a LinkedIn account, but they will definitely be on Google Maps. So instead, we scrape Google Maps to actually find these businesses, and then we enrich them with the right people from these businesses. So every website and LinkedIn profile is double-checked through AI to determine if it's actually a fit for the campaign and the campaign copy. And if not, then we sort them out. Now then comes the fun part. So now it's time to actually increase the relevancy, and we do this typically through Clay. So that's what's shown on the right side here. So we try to find intent data. So that might be that they have recently commented on a post on LinkedIn, or they recently posted a post on LinkedIn, or they are hiring for X role, or they just hired for X role, or they're using a specific software that we know when they're using that software, then it increases the likelihood that they'll want to use your product or your services. So we do all of these things through AI so that we're able to do it at scale, and so that we're able to use some of these things in an email to increase the relevancy. Then it's time for the second step. So that's actually writing out the outreach. So we build out all of these fully personalized. We don't use templates, and we use a lot of dynamic fields, case studies, etc., to again increase the relevancy. So that might have been, something that we've scraped from their website, like a case study or a business name that they have worked with or have in their portfolio. And then we mention that in the email to increase the relevancy and make it seem like we actually sat down and did some research. But the key thing here is that we don't want to use things that a person wouldn't have actually done. If you were to send the email and you had 5 minutes to research the person, then you would have researched this and then written it in an email. Because if we start mentioning things like where they went to college or things like that, which is completely irrelevant, then it's very clear to see that it's completely AI written. We always write as short and concise as possible, and then sometimes we use personalized videos for every single prospect, which has been working quite well. So out here on the right side is an example of what this could look like. This is actually an email that we've used for sales and has generated amazing results. I think we've booked more than 20 conversations with private equity firms interested in our service from this email. All right, so when we've launched the campaigns, then typically we start seeing the first positive replies within 7 days. So our inbox managers are reading through all of the responses from the campaigns. When we receive that positive response, then that's either requesting more information or a meeting request, then you will receive a forwarded email and a notification via our Slack channel. And then it's time for you and your team to shine. To give you a few examples of what these actually look like, so this one, Heather, is starting by actually thanking us for reaching out because, again, it's relevant, and then asking for a few times to chat. Here's another example with someone that loved the intro and is also asking to set up a meeting next week. And we have quite a few of these, so if you want to read through each one, then just pause and then read through them. So let's talk through some examples of results that you could actually expect. So first example, we helped a PE firm generate over 25 proprietary conversations in the first month that we worked together. This is a screenshot from the campaign. So we sent 725 emails, and of that, we had 70 people reply and 24 of them ended up with a meeting. Another example is Sophie, where they are a B2B supplier of paper straws. And we've generated 27 requests for quotes in less than 90 days. And you can see the stats down here as well. And we've booked meetings and had positive replies from companies like 7-Eleven, Four Seasons, University of North Carolina, etc. Another example is Beyond Med. They are a B2B healthcare platform and they're already doing cold emails. So first, we started by actually identifying what was their, challenges, and the primary one was overall declining results compared to what they had been doing earlier. So they had huge deliverability problems. They also didn't have time to actually manage everything and keep track of everything, and they had inconsistent inbox performance. Even though they actually did all of the warm-ups, they had high bounce rates despite them actually using zero bounce to check all of the emails beforehand. So at this point, the reply rate was about 0.5 to 1.5%, and they were generating around 20 to 30 leads a month. So after 1 month with us, I'll just move my picture here. After 1 month with us, we had increased the reply rates to 4 to 9%. So the deliverability was a lot better, and we were generating 50 to 65 leads a month without actually sending more emails. All right, so let's talk through the deliverability setup that actually ensures we land in the inbox and not in spam at scale. If you're not that technical, then feel free to skip ahead. So essentially, we always set up on 3 different platforms, and we always set up new emails and new domains. We don't want to be using your primary domains because that might get burned. So we set up on 3 different accounts. We set up on Google Workspace, Outlook 365, and then Azure. Azure is a little different because we're essentially trying to mimic what bigger companies do. So we don't buy that many domains, and then we set up a lot of email accounts per domain. The main thing here is that we send warm-up emails, and we continue to send warm-up emails to offset and make sure that the reply rate is around 20 to 30% across the infrastructure. That's very difficult to actually achieve just by sending cold emails because they are still cold. But that's why we have this warm-up feature to actually ensure that we're able to continue sending the cold emails. So with our what we call a standard setup, which is outlined on the right here, we will have a total sending volume on campaigns of 400 emails per day. And then this is something that we can scale up or down. So we can essentially just set up more email accounts and then we're able to send out more emails. Or if we don't need that many, then we can also set up fewer email accounts. All right, so essentially what we do is all of these different steps. So we set up the inboxes, we do the list building, we do personalization with AI, we write the copy, we monitor the inboxes, and of course we keep optimizing. We A/B test and make sure that all of the learnings that we get, that we actually implement those and do less of what doesn't work and do more of what actually works, so that you can focus on just pitching and closing the deals. So the reason that this is different and the reason that it actually works is that we hand build all of the lists, we tailor all of the messaging, we use expert deliverability, and we make sure that all of the setup is fully managed by us, so we have everything under control for you. So if you are a PE or VC firm looking to source proprietary deal flow, if you're a B2B supplier ready to generate direct demand from ideal buyers, or a team already doing cold email but struggling to scale it cleanly, or if you're simply a growth-minded B2B company that wants consistent qualified pipeline without all of the chaos, then this system is for you. So let's talk. Down below, feel free to book a time with my co-founder Martin, and then we'll see you there.